Okay. Well, welcome to our session today. This is something that we do every year, and it's my name is Talana Bell. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the Chief Financial Officer of Academic Affairs, and with me is my colleague Angie Miller, whom I'm sure most of you know from HR. She's the Deputy HR Director, so we're glad to have her today. I'm going to share my screen so that everybody can see what we are presenting, and I hope I do this correctly. It gets interesting sometimes. I had a presentation a couple of weeks ago. They were like, well, it's not moving. You're not changing slides. So I'll go to this one. Okay. Everybody, you can see my everything you ever wanted to know, right? Okay. I've also asked Sandy Jones to join us. She is going to be manning the chat box. So if there are questions, because it's kind of hard for us to watch the chat box and do the presentation at the same time. And if there's something that you want to ask, just put it in the chat box and Sandy will interrupt us and we will try to get your question answered. And anything that we can't answer, we'll go back and research and get back to you. So getting started. What is phased retirement? Well, phased retirement was developed several years ago by the UNC system for faculty, eligible full-time faculty members who to allow them to transition to retirement. And you end up with half-time or equivalent, whatever that equivalent service is for a maximum of 3 years. The goals are to have a turnover that's in the professor ranks that is a little more transitional, and also to allow you as a phased retiree to transition into retirement. It is voluntary and you can terminate it upon mutual agreement of both parties. So you don't have to stay in it in all 3 years, but you do have that option to be in it for 3 years. So who is eligible? Any full-time tenured, that's the key, tenured faculty members at the time you apply. The application period will be between now and December the 14th. So as long as you are a tenured faculty member between now and December the 14th, you meet the other criteria, you can apply for this. You have to have at least 5 years of full-time service at Appalachian. And you also have to be eligible to receive retirement benefits either through teasers or ORP. I call it ORP, but it's ORP. And with teasers, you have to be 62 years old or older. With ORP, you have to be 59 and a half or older. We do confirm the age and longevity as of August the 1st, 2021. It's always after the application and basically when you will be in the program. So August 2021, you have to be either the age that applies to your particular retirement plan or be here having worked at Appalachian for 5 years, as well as being tenured. Those who are not eligible, non-tenure track faculty are not eligible. Tenure track faculty who have not yet attained tenure. So if you have not attained tenure prior to December the 14th, then you're not eligible for the program. Also, faculty who occupy administrative positions must resign or move out of those administrative positions into a staff position. So I'm gonna give you some eligibility examples. You can see how this is working. We have a tenured associate professor who has a birth date of July 31, 1959, and a hire date of August 1, 2016. So let's go through the list of eligibility. Is this faculty member tenured? Yes. As of August 1st, 2021, this person is 62 years old and years of service are 5. So this person is eligible under both programs, depending on which one, if they're teasers, they qualify. If they're ORP, they qualify. So this person can apply.
Hey, Ms. Talana,
Yes.
there's a question in the chat. Does that include program directors as admin positions?
Is that the only, are you still teaching?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, whoever asked that, feel free
Barbara,
to.
are you still teaching?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Then no, that it does not apply. This is pretty much anybody who is in a full-time administrative position, but is a faculty member. Might not teach, but all you do is administrative stuff. Okay. That help?
Yes.
Okay. Then we have our second example, same facts, but what we're changing is that this person is non-tenured, but plans to apply for tenure in this current fiscal year, the 2021 year. They're non-tenured at the time of application, so they're not eligible. Years and years of age and years of service are okay, but because they're not tenured, then they can't apply. Next example, a tenured professor with a birth date of August the 2nd, 1959, and a hire date of August the 1st. Person is tenured. Okay, we've met that eligibility criteria. As of August the 1st, 2021, this person is 61 years old and 364 days. So no, unfortunately, we have to have a cutoff somewhere, and August the 1st is the cutoff. So this person would not be eligible under teasers, but if they are doing the ORP plan, then they would qualify because they would be older than 59 and a half. So then the next example, I have a tenured professor with a birth date of June the 3rd, 1955, and a hire date of August the 15th, 2016. So let's look at the facts. This person is tenured. As of August the 1st, age is 66, but 4 years of service. They don't meet the 5 years, because it is mandatory to have worked at Appalachian for 5 years to be eligible to enter this program. So after all that eligibility stuff, okay, I'm eligible, am I guaranteed to be accepted? There are no guarantees in anything. I think we all know that. But you don't have an absolute right, but I can tell you that based on my experience, as well as based on what I've seen from the past, no one has been denied phased retirement, at least at the provost level. Now, if your department may need you to be in the department next year, your dean may need you, so that's going to have to be worked out with them before it ever gets to the provost level. But to my knowledge, no one has been denied it by the provost. And we've never really established a cap that I'm aware of. This is just for your information. Okay, Angie.
Yay. So now I get to talk with you about benefits and how your benefits apply in phased retirement. So for purposes of the state of North Carolina, when you enter phased retirement, you are technically, in their view, retired. So for individuals who are entering phased retirement July 1, 2021, the salary is 50% of your full-time salary received immediately prior to phased retirement, which is based on your faculty members' prior 9 or 12-month contractual term. So that is your base contract amount. That does not include supplemental pay that you may be receiving. That is truly your base contractual amount. Compensation is paid during phased retirement over 12 months. So your first payment would begin in July and run through June 30 of the following year. It is subject to any limitations imposed under the state retirement system and the legislative appropriations process. Participating faculty members are eligible for salary increases and merit pay in subsequent years, but not in the first year of participation. We get a lot of questions with that. So just be mindful that in your first year of phased retirement, you are not eligible for those increases. One of the biggest changes for our faculty as they enter phased is health insurance, because you do transition from our active group to the retiree health insurance. Keep in mind, as I mentioned, the state considers you retired. So in their eyes, in fact, you are a retiree. So you do transition over. Health insurance benefits will continue provided, and that is in caps, provided you choose to receive a monthly benefit from your retirement carrier, whether that's teasers or the ORP. And they can advise you on the minimum and maximum monthly benefits. TIAA and Fidelity can usually annuitize as little as $10 a month. They can take $10,000 and set up a lifetime maximum benefit. The state does not prescribe the monthly amount you have to receive, only that you have to be in receipt of a monthly benefit. Again, your plan coverage converts from Appalachian State's policy to the state retiree health group once verification is received that you're in receipt of that monthly benefit. For non-Medicare eligible members, you are auto-enrolled in the plan you were enrolled in prior to phased retirement. So whatever plan you were enrolled in as of June of 2021, whether it be the 70-30 or the 80-20, that is what they will auto-enroll you in. Your benefits remain the same, and you only have to meet one deductible per plan year. For Medicare eligible phased retirees, you are placed in the Medicare Advantage plan, which is currently administered by United Healthcare, but beginning in 2021 will transition over to Humana. So any covered dependents who are eligible, Medicare eligible, will also be mapped over to the Medicare Advantage plan. Now, what is important about this, and I cannot say this and stress this more, you must elect and be enrolled in Part B of Medicare as of July 1 in the year that you enter phased retirement. And let me say that again. If you are Medicare eligible, you must enroll in Part B of Medicare effective July 1 in the year that you enter phased retirement.
Angie, I think
Angie?
yeah, go ahead.
Excuse me, we have a question. Two questions, actually. The first question is, where can we find the info on retirees' health insurance? I'm guessing, is that under phased retiree on your site? Because I can send that to the group.
Actually, it would be better if they go directly to the State Health Plan's website, which is www.shpnc.org. And that doesn't mean State Highway Patrol. That is State Health Plan. I get some about that. So shpnc.org.
And I sent that to the group, so if everyone wants to look in your chat. Another question, please explain what it means that we only need to meet one deductible per year.
Okay, that's a great question. Thank you for that question. So as everyone knows, we have different deductibles under the 70-30 plan and the 80-20 plan. So if your deductible is $1,250 and you plan on entering phase July 1, and you've met your deductible as of May of 2021, then when you roll over to the retiree health insurance, they do not make you start a new deductible, so that what you have met in that year rolls with you. So you do not have to meet a different deductible because you map to a new group. It's not a new plan, but it's a new group. So that's what I mean by you don't have to meet a new deductible for that plan year. And I think, go ahead, Sandy.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I think there was some additional questions in chat.
Yes, there is. You do not have to enroll in the Advantage plan if you choose not to. Is that correct?
So if you are Medicare eligible when you enter phased retirement, the state health plan looks across to see if you are enrolled in Part A and Part B of Medicare. If they see that you are actively enrolled in Part A and Part B of Medicare, they will auto-enroll you in the Medicare Advantage plan. So you will be auto-enrolled in that plan. If you do not want the Medicare Advantage plan, then you do have to take action. You would have to log in and select the 70/30 plan. So your only two options are the 70/30 plan or the Medicare Advantage plan, which is equivalent to the 80/20 plan.
Okay, another question. We are in enrollment now. If we plan to do this in 2021, how does this affect the enrollment now for Medicare Part B?
Well, you would still complete annual enrollment as an active employee of Appalachian State. If you decide you want to enter phased retirement July 1, then, and if you are Medicare eligible, then 60 days prior to July 1, at least 60 days. Sometimes Medicare will let you enroll in Part B up to 90 days. If they will allow you to do it at the 90-day mark, I would recommend doing that. So you would do that in April. You would reach out in April of 2021, and you would do that with Social Security, and you would enroll in Part B of Medicare. And then when you transition over into phased retirement, then they will automatically convert you over to the Medicare Advantage plan. There's no action you need to take. They will just automatically transition you over. As long as they see that you have both parts of Medicare. If they do not see that and you are Medicare eligible, then they will put you in the 70/30 plan. I can't stress enough how important that enrollment in that Part B is.
Can dependents still stay on the state health plan till age 26?
Yes, dependents can stay on the state health plan until they are 26. And for employees who are Medicare eligible, who have dependents who are under 26, what will happen in that scenario is that even though you will be mapped to the Medicare Advantage plan, your dependent will be mapped to the current plan that you were enrolled in prior to phased retirement. So if you were in the 80/20 plan, then your dependent will still be mapped over to the 80/20 plan, and you will be mapped over to the Medicare Advantage plan.
I think that catches us up. Thank you.
Thanks. So the state medical plan will remain as your primary payer for all claims until you reach age 65. At age 65, Medicare becomes your primary coverage, and the state medical plan becomes your secondary or your supplement. And I'm going to tell you a little war story here. I like to frighten everybody over Part B because I deal with this at least once a year. If you do not enroll in Part B, and if the state health plan pays as if it were primary, it will catch up. What I mean by that is we have had some employees who have said, well, if I have the retiree health insurance, I'm not going to pay the Part B premium. They can just pay for it. The state health plan can just pay for it. And eventually the state health plan looks across and says, we've been paying as primary and you're at least 65 years old, and we're going to bill you for the excess that we paid. And I have had some employees who have received bills for over $100,000. So I do not want anyone to receive a bill of any kind from the state health plan. So please, please be mindful. So the cost of the health insurance in phased retirement If you were hired prior to October 1, 2006, your retiree health insurance is free. If you were hired after October 1, 2006 and have worked more than 10 years, but less than 20 years, you pay 50% of your healthcare premium. If you work 20 or more years, the retiree health plan is free. Now, one thing, and this isn't going to affect this group, but certainly down the road, it's going to affect one of our phased retiree groups. Beginning January 1, 2021, any employee hired with the state as of January 1, 2021 or later will not be eligible for the retiree health insurance. That is a benefit that is being taken away. So that is significant. Yes, ma'am.
Hire date, is that for the state of North Carolina or ASU?
That is with the state of North Carolina. So if you had prior state service prior to ASU and you did not take any type of withdrawal or distribution from your retirement accounts, then that would be your date of entry. If you did take a withdrawal from your retirement accounts, then your date would start over as of the date you re-entered state service.
I have a question about that.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, can you hear me? I'm sorry, I thought I was muted. Yeah, I do have a question about that. Okay, so I'm a little confused. The hire date is not necessarily just the hire date at App State, but like I worked in the state system for a long time. We're not gonna say how long. And so does it start then when I've been on the retirement system, or does it start with my hire date at Appalachian?
No, it depends on your hire date with the state of North Carolina.
That's the health insurance piece, Barbara.
Yeah, so for the health insurance, if I was hired in the state of North Carolina prior to 2006, right, which I was, then my health premium is free. They don't charge me for it.
As long as you did not take any type of distribution from your retirement account.
Nope, I hadn't touched it.
Then yes, they would go by your first entry date of state service, regardless of where it was, whether it was at another UNC institution or whether it was a state agency. So if you started at the Department of Transportation back 30 years ago and did not take out your contributions, they would go by that first date.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that. I thought that was like my Appalachian start date. So I have no cost. Okay.
What about, Angie, what about a break in service? How has that worked?
So as long as if someone leaves the state of North Carolina service, let's say you go to a private institution and you've got 2 years originally with Appalachian State, and you leave and you go to Duke. I'm just throwing out. And you work at Duke for 10 years. And then you decide, you know what, I want to come back to Appalachian. So then you come back to Appalachian. As long as you didn't take a distribution or a withdrawal, then your date will be based on when you first entered service with those first 2 years, and then it'll pick back up and you would work 3 more years and you would qualify for free retiree health insurance.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Sandy, do we have another one? Yeah.
Yes. If you have less than 10 years of service, you pay for insurance, whether in phased or regular retirement. Is that correct?
That is correct. If you have less than 10 years, then you do have the option of paying 100%. So fully contributory cost into the retiree health insurance. If you're not Medicare eligible, that's pretty expensive. If you are Medicare eligible, then it's really not. It's a pretty good deal, actually, if you're 65 or older. But if you're not, then again, it's costly and you pay 100% of that coverage. At the 10-year mark, you would only pay 50%. And then if you get to the 20, it's 100%.
Nope.
I have a little question.
Sure.
Okay. Is there a time limit? Suppose I live to be 99 years old. Will they pay my health insurance till then?
For life.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, for the rest of your life.
Mhm.
And what is really great now, used to, the state health plan had a $5 million aggregate lifetime maximum that they would pay out.
Mhm.
And thankfully that was removed, because you can go through some pretty significant health events and it doesn't take much to reach that $5 million. So that was removed. There is no aggregate lifetime maximum that you have to reach before they'll stop, and they will cover you for your lifetime.
And so this is Part B. So for my Part B, because I'm on Medicare, then I have no cost, right?
Well, no, you do have to pay for Part B through Medicare.
Okay.
And there is a cost for that, and that is kind of income driven. That is one of the things that Social Security will ask you about when you apply for Part B. That can be anywhere from $140 a month to $174 a month, or even higher. It just depends on your income. There's some income thresholds where the cost of the plan becomes more expensive.
Mhm.
So you have to purchase Part B, the basic Part B. But what you do not have to purchase if you fall under the free retiree health insurance is the supplement, which also covers the prescription part. So that is a huge benefit.
That's Part C, isn't it, Angie, or not?
Part D.
Part D.
That is Part D.
And that's paid for by the state retirement, right?
Correct.
Okay.
It's Angie. If
Yeah.
you are less than 65, is it around $700 to $800 a month?
It would not be quite that much. It would be closer to $600 a month for yourself.
Is the cost for dependents the same as it is now, or does that go up?
It does not. It would be the same cost. So you would be paying, if you're paying $300 for parent-child coverage, then it would be $300 plus the $560 for yourself. Once you start covering a family, a full family, it gets pretty costly. You're looking at probably around $1,100 to $1,200 a month.
If we have to be enrolled in Part B by July 1 of the retirement year, how far ahead would you recommend us contacting Social Security to enroll?
60 to 90 days. Sometimes, and it just depends, I hate to say this, but it truly does depend upon the agent that you get. Sometimes they will let you enroll in Part B 90 days in advance, and I encourage that because you're giving them a July 1 effective date. That's the date you're saying, I need for this to be effective. So the sooner they can get that started, the better off you'll be, especially now with things being so strange. And we have employees who are still working from home. So sometimes there can be delays and glitches. So if they let you enroll 90 days before July 1, do that. Sometimes they say, nope, you can't do it prior to 60 days. But do it at the maximum time limit that they allow you to enroll. Any other questions about the health insurance piece?
That's all I have for right now.
Okay. So supplemental benefits during phased retirement. When you enter phased retirement, you're eligible to continue participation in the NC Flex supplemental benefit plans. You can continue that for the whole 3 years of the phased retirement term. There's continued participation in any of the supplemental retirement plans, such as a 401k, a 403b, or a 457. We have several phased retirees who still want to defer as much of their phased retirement income into those supplemental accounts. So you can still continue participation in that. And deductions to the North Carolina State Employees Credit Union. So if you have a mortgage payment that is coming out of your check or a car payment, then that will continue through phased retirement.
Well, Rose, hang on. There you go.
Some university-specific phased retirement benefits. You retain your professional rank. Professional liability insurance is maintained. You retain a university email account. Now, I want to talk about that just a little bit. While you are in phased retirement, you maintain your regular email account. Once you exit phased retirement, if you truly exit phased retirement and you don't work part-time or in any capacity with the university, you will be assigned a new retired App State email account. Now, the one caveat to that is if you apply for emeritus status and are approved or affirmed for emeritus status, then they do let you keep your regular email address. So it is very important that you make plans to offboard any information from that email account by the end of your phased retirement contract period. Again, you'll have an App State email account, but it would be Miller AD retired at appstate.edu. And again, your regular email account will not automatically map over. Unless you get approved for emeritus status, your regular email account goes away. And you can work with IT to offboard any information you might want. And then, of course, the other big piece to that is if you have that email account tied to any personal accounts, such as your retirement vendor or to the state health plan or banking, anything along those lines, then you would need to make sure that you get that account changed in the correct email address given to those vendors. You still maintain university library privileges. You get a parking permit at half price. You do need to let parking and traffic know that you're a phased retiree and that you're only here half the year. You get 20%, a 20% discount for regular season athletic tickets. And I know that's kind of a joke now because we're not playing sports, or I should say we're not allowing people in the stands when we play sports. But if or when we ever get to a more normal period in time, then you can purchase those season athletic tickets at a 20% discount. You get free access to university recreational facilities. You just need to go by the app card office and have those privileges put on your card. And that gets you into Mount Mitchell, Quinn, and the Student Rec Center. And you get office space if teaching.
Miss Angie,
Yes, ma'am.
a question. What about a loan from your 401k? Can you continue to pay, or do you have to pay it off?
No, you can continue that repayment through payroll deduction while you're on phased retirement. The one you might want to make sure, depending upon your loan repayment details, if you do not get it paid back by the end of your employment and you don't make arrangements with them to pay off the balance, then they will send you a 1099 and that will become taxable income for you. So just keep that as a bit of information when you're considering loan repayments.
Sorry. I do it too. Some other items that you need to know are related to the phased retirement plan is that as an eligible faculty member, if you decide to enter phased retirement, you do give up tenure. Now you do, as Angie mentioned, you will still keep your rank. So if you're a full professor, you still keep that rank. The only change is you lose or you give up tenure. And you also may not serve on committees that require members to be tenured. However, you do maintain the same academic freedoms and responsibilities as other faculty members have. And you maintain access to all grievance and appeal procedures that are normally available in the faculty handbook. So what will happen is you'll terminate your full-time employment and you contract for a period of half-time or equivalent service to the university. And half-time responsibilities will vary across departments. So that's why you need to work this out with your department chair and with your dean before applying. You can work no more than 3/4 of an FTE, and you can work no more than 30 hours a week in any given semester. And because, now several years ago, before the Affordable Care Act came out, phased retirees were able to do all of their service and stuff in the fall semester, and then in the spring semester, they were off the whole semester. Well, because of the way the Affordable Care Act works, and the fact that we have to offer benefits, et cetera, if you work beyond a certain amount, then that we can't really do that any longer. So I suggest that you have at least some time in the spring semester that you work 2 or 3 hours, just something, so that you're not considered full-time in any given semester. That is a little bit of a change from the past, but it is something that you need to consider. Of course, you'll maintain your high levels of professional commitment. You remain subject to the code of the system, the UNC system, as well as Appalachian. And, you're also subject to disciplinary, just like you are now. The department chair or the dean can put you on leave if there are disciplinary issues or if there's something that warrants you being placed on leave. But that's not going to happen with you guys. I mean, y'all are good, so that's not going to happen. Just be aware the program does not provide a participating faculty member with any greater rights, claims, or privileges. It's, you're still treated like a faculty member. You're just half-time and you receive half your salary. So how do you apply? The first step you need to take is to discuss with your department chair your intentions of pursuing phased retirement. Then work with your department chair and or the dean to determine a work plan so that that we know what responsibilities you're going to have, and it will be included in the reemployment agreement. So this relates to any teaching, any research, any service assignments during that phased retirement period, and then you'll obtain the approvals as necessary. We have created, this is a little different. Those of you who sat through this session last year, this is a little different because I was new last year and trying to learn how this thing works, and I learned a lot. So I'm changing things up a little bit. There's a Google form that we have created to be the application, and that you need to complete that no later than December the 14th of this year, and be sure you include the work plan, the approved work plan. You can either upload it or you can actually type in what your responsibilities will be. I tell you, let's see.
Talana, could I ask a question?
Yes,
Should that not be 2020?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. You're exactly right. I'll change that before I send it out to everybody. Thank you.
Okay.
I was going through changing a bunch of dates and thank you. I really appreciate it. Let's see, I'm gonna switch this over so you can see the actual Google form. It's right here. Okay. Can you see the little butterfly?
Yep.
Okay. This is what it's a very simple form. I'm gonna go ahead and just go through it so you can see what it asks for. First thing it asks, are you a full-time faculty member? You click yes, it'll take you to the next screen. If you click no, it'll say you're not eligible. Don't, in a nicer way, it just says you're not eligible, so you can't apply. So let's say we are a full-time. Years of service, it asks, will your years of service at Appalachian be 5 or more as of August 1, 2021? If yes, then it'll take you to the next screen. Then it asks you which retirement plan. Let's go with ORP. And so then it asks you about your age. If you choose teasers, it'll ask you if you'll be 62 as of August 1, 2021. So yeah, it'll be 59 and a half. And then it'll ask if you have worked out your work plan. Have you negotiated it with your department chair and dean during phased retirement? Say yes. And then it goes through and asks, of course, your name. I'll put me in. And I do need your banner ID because I want to make sure I don't get the wrong person when I'm looking up information to verify. So please enter that. I'll ask for your college. Let me do this. Do that. And so I'll say I'm in the Walker College of Business and my department is accounting. So then you go to the next screen. Maybe. Okay. Here's where you either list or you upload your file for your work plan. If you want to list them here, you can do that. If you want to add a file, then you click the add file and you go and pull it off your computer and put it in. So it'll be there. So when I get it, I can put it into the agreement, and then you just submit it. So let's say I'll just do this and I will submit. So then that will come to me, and then I can create the next step. Hey, Sandy.
Hey, where is the form for approval from your chair for a work plan?
Actually, there's not really a form necessarily. If y'all can just work out the work plan and then upload it or enter it into this Google form, the approvals will actually come when I create the DocuSign reemployment agreement, because that's where the work plan will be. Your chair can review it to make sure that that's what y'all agreed to, and then the dean can sign off and the provost can sign off. So that's how that will work. So there is no official form. You know, I think in the past, the agreement had a bunch of lines on it and you could just include it there. But if you'll just either put it in the Google form or upload it into the Google form, I'll make sure it gets in the agreement.
So just confirming, the work plan does not require signatures when it's uploaded here.
That's correct.
Okay, 2 more questions. If I teach summer school in 2021, will my phase salary be based on my salary for 2021, including the summer classes?
If you teach in June, it will be based on your salary through June 30. If you teach in July, it'll be based on your salary effective July the 1st. And we did have an issue like that this past year that we had to explain. But yes, that's how that works, because it's whatever your effective salary is at the time that you're teaching.
Since research is part of a faculty member's work requirement, can one still do all teaching in one semester and have the second semester 10+ hours be devoted to research?
Yes. Yes. Just as long as you're doing something, you know, related to either teaching, research, or service. So yes. In fact, I encourage it.
That's all I have right now.
Okay. And I will change this date on the, let me, hold on a minute, go back to the share. I'm sure there's an easier way to do this, but okay. So you've seen what the Google form looks like. And what will happen is I will actually put this into, I've worked something out with IT and DocuSign. I will create a DocuSign that has the work plan in it. It will go to the provost, it will go to your chair, it will go to your dean and get those approvals first. You got a question, Sandy?
Yes, Ms. Talana. Are you going to send us a link to the form?
Yes, I will. Absolutely. And we're going to have it on HR's website in addition. I just wanted to make sure I had it tweaked just right before I actually sent it out. So yes, we will have that available for you. Anything
Thank
else?
you.
Okay.
Yep.
All righty. So then after your application, which is what the Google form is, after the approval of the application, then I will prepare the reemployment agreement and the release document. The reemployment agreement will be the way it's supposed to work is that the reemployment agreement is signed by the provost, the dean, the chair, and you are the last one to sign it, not the other way around. We do it first, administrators do it first, and then it comes to you because it's also related to the release document that you have to sign and have notarized. So you'll get, what I'll do is enter it into DocuSign and it'll go through that process, but at the same time, I'm going to email you the release form or the release document, and you can have that and the DocuSign document at the same time. Once you've signed the DocuSign, then I need you to put the date that you signed it into the release form, and there is a place in that for you to do. From that time, once you have 45 days, when you receive the DocuSign reemployment agreement, you'll have 45 days from the day you receive it to either to sign it and get the release document signed and notarized. Is there a question?
Yes. I know you're going to change the date to 2020, correct?
Yes.
And then the second part of the question is, the deadline last year was in January. Is there leeway with the December deadline?
Well, yeah, I can do that. And the reason why I made it December the 14th is because all your grades are due right around that time with commencement and all that kind of stuff. And I thought it'll give you a chance to have it done and you don't have to worry about it over the holidays. But yes, I definitely need it by the end of December so that we make sure that we have have in place, or you have at least applied at least 6 months before the plan kicks in, which will be July the 1st. So we need to have it by the end, no later than the end of December. But I made it, but yes, there is leeway in answer to the question.
Thank you.
Is that it? Or I see us, okay.
Yes, that's it.
Okay.
Wait, there might be one more. Hold on.
Okay.
Sorry, I missed something you said. So we have 45 days to back out if we choose.
Or it's 45 days to sign it. So yeah, if you decide you don't want to do it, don't sign anything. And you'll keep rocking and rolling like you are right now. Once you, and I'll go through this in just a minute. Well, I'll just do it now. Once you sign the document and sign the release document, as well as DocuSign the reemployment agreement and have the release form notarized, you will have 7 days from that date to revoke it without anything changing. After the 7 days, and we have to do that under the ADEA. But once you're beyond that, then it's set, and there's really that way we're still in compliance with the regulations. I know last year was weird because of COVID and everything was hitting right around the same time, and you know, we did open up the revocation a little longer last year because of COVID. Now, am I gonna hold you to it? Probably not. If you decide you don't want to retire, that you want to stay where you are, we just have to have something in writing that you want to revoke it.
Can anyone under phased retirement teach in the summer?
And can I answer that, Talana?
Yes, you may.
That is kind of a, I'm going to give a conflicting answer if that makes sense. So it's yes and no. If you're in the optional retirement program, it is not a problem for you to teach summer school. If you are in the state retirement system, you are subject to earnings limitations by the state. You cannot go over 50% of your previous 12-month salary. So I say that if you are in teasers, you need to be very, very cautious. If you teach any type of summer school or any type of supplemental course loads, because you're already receiving 50% of your base salary. So anything above that, it's possible could knock you over your earnings limit. And what happens when you go over your earnings limit, the state gets really, really nasty. They stop your retirement benefit, and then they revoke your retiree health insurance. And it is actually up to you to monitor your earnings limits. We do not do that for you. You have to monitor that for yourself. So be very cautious and be very mindful if you are in the state retirement system and receiving that benefit from the state retirement system, that you make sure you do not go over those earnings limits.
Very good. Thanks,
Thank you,
Angie.
Angie.
Okay.
One more.
Yeah.
Sorry. And one just popped back up. Can you teach part-time for a different institution while on phased retirement?
You cannot teach for another UNC institution because all of those hours and that workload is gathered collectively, and we have to report that collectively. So again, you're bound by that 50%. So if you say, okay, I'm going to go on phased retirement, but then I'm going to do some work for UNC Asheville or Western, then chances are that you're going to go over and you're going to violate that 50%.
Okay.
Sorry, follow up. Sorry. But you can teach for different institutions for different states.
And I'm going to say that as long as there is not a conflict of interest involved, I would recommend, I mean, from the earnings limit side, no, there's not a problem regarding that, because it would be a private institution or whatever. It wouldn't be part of the state of North Carolina, but just make sure that your teaching at a different institution doesn't fall within a conflict of I can't even talk anymore today, that it doesn't create a conflict of interest. So I would definitely recommend you talk to your dean about that, or even possibly reach out to general counsel's office to make sure it's not a conflict.
Thank you. Ms. Barbara, do you want to ask your question directly?
Sure, I think this is clear, but if you teach in the summer and you are going to go on phased retirement on July 1 would be the start of phased retirement. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, so you teach in the summer, but summer courses aren't over until August, so you're paid for July. Does that interfere? Is that considered prior to phased retirement? Does that make sense? I mean, is it better just not to teach in the summer before you go on phased, or?
You can still teach in June.
Yeah, but our courses always go all the way to the end of July. We're on 10 week. So how strict are they about that?
If you're in teasers and you're receiving a payment, a hefty payment after June 30,
Yeah.
then it could impact you.
Okay, all right.
We need to be mindful of that.
Yeah, because that would be 30%. So that would mean, then I'd have to work out with my chair. Okay, I'm just not going to work in the fall or something. I don't know. Because that would be about 30%, usually 38%, really.
Well, keep in mind when you say you just won't work in the fall,
I know.
you're still earning your base 50% salary.
Okay,
So
to consider. Okay.
That's all I have right now.
Okay. So I'll still have you sign the reemployment agreement in DocuSign, and then sign the release form. And I'm going to show you, let's see if I pull this over here. Can you see this release form?
Yeah.
You can? Okay. All right. What I will do is put your name here. You will need to put the date, because this needs to be the date that you actually DocuSign the reemployment agreement. And the reason I'm doing it this way is because I know some of you don't want to come on campus, and through DocuSign, I can get the signatures of everybody else, and then you can sign it, and if you'll enter the date here. But I'm doing that so that nobody feels like they have to come on campus. Or some of you may have seen this before. It's a document that was actually established and written by the UNC system several years ago, and we just adopted it. Then you'll sign the release form and have it notarized. Now, that will require you to find a notary. And Angie, correct me if I'm wrong, we do have some in HR, correct?
correct. We have 3 notaries in HR. You would just need to call and make an appointment to come in. We are still rotating in and out of the office due to COVID. So feel free to give us a call. I am a notary as well. So feel free to reach out to me, and I would be more than happy to set up an appointment to notarize a document for you.
Yeah, but if you know another notary somewhere so that you don't have to come to campus, I encourage you to do that. But unfortunately, this has to be notarized because you are actually releasing the university and the UNC system for any and all claims and all that kind of stuff. So it's something that has to be signed before you can enter phased retirement. So, and I'll email this. Yes.
I'm just curious, how does a notary sign a DocuSeal?
They don't. This document, I will email this document to you.
Okay, so you have to print.
Or if you prefer, I can print it and mail it to you. It's what.
Okay. So you got to have this printed copy because you got to have it notarized, right?
Correct.
Okay. Send it to that. Okay, no problem.
Now, one thing that you can do once you have it notarized, and the notary has put the seal on it, you can use a lead pencil, and just scrape it with your lead pencil to bring the seal out so that we can see it. And as long as we can see it, then you're fine to scan it back to me. Again, I'm trying to help you not have to come to campus unless you want to.
Or you can mail it, right? We can just mail it to you, right?
Or you can mail it. Either way. But I'm, just to have some options. And what I'll do when I send you this form, when I email you this form, or if you want me to mail it, either way, I will send you the instructions. And if you send me something back saying, do you mind mailing it to me? I will be happy to do that. But that's how this will work. I know it's a little bit cumbersome, and I wish we could do it through DocuSign, but we can't do this form through DocuSign. Okay, and again, if you'll send it to me, you can also mail it to me, and I'll put that all in the instructions too, so you have the address. But you do have the right to revoke the agreement and the release document within 7 calendar days after you have executed both documents. And once that 7-day period passes, it's final. But again, you can revoke it, and I will go through that in just a minute. Here is a key point. you must, strongly, and I think Angie would echo this, you need to make an appointment with the HR office in March to initiate your retirement paperwork. This is very, very important because in the past, there have been some who have delayed it until May, June, or possibly even after, and it really screws up their retirement and their health insurance benefits. Angie, you want to comment?
Absolutely. Thank you, Talana. What will happen is that if you do not complete the retirement process timely, then basically the state retiree health insurance, as I mentioned, they verify that you're in receipt of a monthly benefit. If they cannot verify that piece of information, they do not extend eligibility to you to the retiree health group. So what happens at that point is you go off of our group because you've entered phased retirement, so you're off our group. And then there's a delay in your retiree health insurance kicking in. And the only option you have at that point for having health insurance is if you pay the COBRA rates until your retirement can be processed. And again, that's expensive and that's costly. So as Talana said, and I echo that sentiment, please, please, please make an appointment with us in March.
Okay. All right. To revoke, if you decide after the 7 days or after everything is final, let's say, you reach the end of the month and you think, oh man, I kind of wish I had not done that. You can revoke it, but you need to do it in writing, and it does have to be personally signed by you, and I do need that wet signature. So, but because you need to either personally deliver it or mail it using United States Postal Service. And since these things were written, I think you can use FedEx if you really want to, but somehow I have to have the actual signed document that you revoke it. And you just simply have to say, please consider this my request to revoke the reemployment agreement and the release document that I signed on X date, as I wish to retain my current position. But thing about it is, once you reach July the 1st, then we can't really, as we get closer to July the 1st, it's not going to be as easy to revoke because you should have already gone through the retirement process with Angie, and it should already be in place. So that's why I want you to take that 45 days and really seriously consider this, weigh all your options out, and then proceed. So that's just word to the wise, and feel free to take it to an attorney. That's recommended as well. I cannot accept an email to revoke. I've got to have your wet signature. So if you do it within the 7-day period, both agreements are void at that point in time. And at that point, you would retain your full-time employment status that you held immediately before you executed that release document. But once you get past July the 1st, we can't, if you revoke then, we can't go back. It's pretty much a done deal.
Ms. Talana?
Yes, ma'am.
A question, and I think it's more for Angie. If you have a January retire date, when should you meet with HR? Sometime in September? You're muted, Angie.
Sorry. I have done this all day. You would think I would fix it. That is correct. Keep in mind that phased retirement only starts July 1. So you do not enter phased retirement January 1. If you are looking at just wanting to completely retire January 1 and not do anything with phased, then yes, you would meet with me during the month of September to process that retirement.
Okay, moving on to some FAQs. And I believe, Angie, this is yours.
Yay. Am I required to receive a monthly retirement benefit from my retirement carrier to participate in the program? No, you are not required to receive a benefit under teasers or the ORP. However, you will not receive university paid state health plan benefits. So if you need the retiree health insurance and that is important to you, then you need to select some type of minimum benefit from your optional retirement program, or apply and receive a benefit from teasers.
I have a question.
Yep.
Is the time frame full 3 years or less established at the time of application? And if you select 2 or 3 years and then want to end phased retirement after 1 year, how does that happen?
Basically the same way. Just tell me that you want to revoke it and you want to end it as of a certain date, and we can get that taken care of. You can as long as both parties, as long as you and the university, which I don't see any reason why we wouldn't agree, as long as we both agree, we can terminate it at any time. So it's really, we just need to know. There's not a form. Okay. Anything else, Sandy?
I think that's it.
Okay. Hey, Angie.
So what happens when I turn 65? You will be placed in the Medicare Advantage plan, which is currently administered by United Healthcare, but will be transitioning over to Humana. Medicare becomes your primary coverage, and the state medical plan becomes your secondary or your supplement. As a phased retiree, you must elect Medicare Part B when you turn age 65. Please contact Social Security to complete this enrollment. The closest office is located in Wilkesboro and in Hickory. You do not need to elect Medicare Part D, as the prescription drug benefits to the state medical plan are considered to be better than those offered by Medicare. Again, the state health plan, that state retiree health group, will remain primary for your prescription coverage. So you never need to purchase a separate Part D plan through Medicare.
If you aren't a phased retiree, do you still have to elect Part B when you retire?
Yes, you do. If you retire and you're Medicare eligible, regardless of whether you're in the phased retirement program or not, you are required to enroll in Part B of Medicare if you want the supplemental retiree health insurance through the state health plan. If you don't want the retiree health insurance, you don't want that as a supplement, you want to decline it, and then you don't have to enroll in Part B. But most other supplements that you look at, you will have to have Part B in place. Those are just the basic parts of Medicare, and most supplements make you be enrolled in those parts. But again, to do that, you would have to waive your benefits through the state retiree health insurance.
Okay. Anything else, Sandy?
Not for now.
Okay. All right.
Oh, wait, sorry, I spoke
That's
too soon. But as long as you're an active employee, not phased or retired, you do not need to register for Part B.
That is correct. But if you remain a full-time active employee, you do not need to be enrolled in Part B. You're just throwing money away at that point, because the state health plan is your primary insurance, regardless of what age you are, whether you're 65 or you're 85. The state health plan remains your primary as long as you're a full-time active employee.
I think that's it for right now.
Okay.
Thank you, Angie.
So this is a question that I get every year, and I think we touched on it just a minute ago. Can I begin phased retirement in January instead of July? No, the phased retirement program starts at the beginning of the fiscal year. And the reason is so the university can align the academic needs for the whole academic year and not have it skewed, so to speak, to ensure proper course load. So July the 1st is the start of the phased retirement program. So then, what if I decide if I want to fully retire after I have entered and begin phased retirement? It's voluntary, so you can terminate the agreement as long as both parties agree. However, you will not be reinstated to your previous faculty role with tenure. Okay, Angie.
So where can I find more information and forms? If you go to our website, hr.appstate.edu, and if you go under our benefits tab, you will see phased retirement. All of the necessary forms that Talana has been referencing is housed there. You can locate that. We also have links to the UNC system office and to their main phased retirement website. And you can also reference the code and the UNC policy manual, chapter 300, section 300.7.2.
And this is also where we will have the link to the Google form for you to apply. So, okay. Got something, Sandy?
No, I just shared the link with everyone.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, then I plan to apply for tenure this academic year. I'm 63 years old with 9 years experience. Can I elect to take phased retirement? No, because only tenured faculty are eligible as of the date of application. So between now and December the 14th or December the 31st, if you need longer, only tenured faculty are eligible. So just because you're trying and see those appointments, those awards, tenure awards would not be done until March of next year. So it doesn't work. So that answers that question. Okay, we have come to the end. Are there any other questions that we can answer for you?
And we would love to hear any rumors or myths that you might have heard about phased retirement. I always love to hear what you've heard so we can either affirm or dispel some of those things that you've heard.
Angie, I have a question.
Yes.
Last year, Ken and I came to this very same meeting, and you sent out an email very soon afterward. We had a long discussion, all of us, about how many hours could be worked. And I don't remember if you remember this particular email, so I'm not going to read for very long. But you wrote, as you recall, we spent some time yesterday discussing the FTE issue and how many hours per week a phased retiree can work. And then just one more sentence. We're working on this issue and we'll share the final information with the deans and with you in the near future. And I think that had to do with the idea that people wanted to bunch up things in one semester and then not work in the second. So it sounds as though that has been decided, that there has to be some research then in the semester, because that was a real question, if you remember, last year.
Yes. Yes, and you're absolutely right. That was what I was referencing in that email, because historically that wasn't the case. We did have some faculty who did try to front load all of their work in one semester and not perform any work, and that was very problematic.
But as it seems to be that as you were describing, research can come in a whole lot of forms for that second semester.
Correct, it can.
Okay. Okay.
Ms. Talana, I have
Yes.
a question. If you are a department chair at the time of application, can all approvals be mediated through the dean?
Yes. Yes, and then to the provost. So yes. So if you're a department chair, what I'll do when I do the DocuSign, if you are already a department chair, I won't send anything to you as department chair. I'll just let it go directly to the dean. Any other?
Could you perhaps unshare your screen now? It's kind of.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I apologize. That better?
Yes, thank you. Could I just ask my question out loud?
Sure, absolutely.
I was in the process of, I'm sorry, I should show my face. I was in the process of typing it, but it sounds like then basically any kind of work arrangement might be all right, like a certain percentage of teaching versus administrative. Like I'm an assistant chair right now. Is that something that if the dean and the chair agreed to, that could be part of the service during phased retirement? Are there any kind of limits on that kind of thing?
Well, with the assistant chairs, you're still,
Well, see, and I'm not saying that that would be okay. I'm just asking about possibilities. Like I only get a 3-hour course release as part of that. So, you know, technically if you're teaching 6 hours and 6 hours, then potentially. So I was just wondering what the possibilities are under those sort of circumstances.
I think you probably could. It's just you wouldn't get any extra pay for that. You see
Oh,
what
I mean, yes. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
it would be like a service. It would be your, you know, if your dean or your chair needs you to do that as a service, then yes, that could count.
I see what you're saying. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
I have one question. Let's say you apply for a Fulbright or something like that, and you get it, and you have a grant to go for a whole year to someplace else, and you're unphased. Do you then, is that work? Can you keep your 50% salary, you know, and do your Fulbright?
I don't know about that. Angie, do you have any thoughts on that?
I think that could get kind of tricky.
Yeah, let me ask you this. If, let's say you're not in phased, how would that normally work for you, for a Fulbright scholar? They're gone full time, aren't they?
Yeah, well, yes, but usually you can keep your salary or some portion of it. They might take some portion off, but your Fulbright is, if it's supposed to cover research costs, transportation, housing in the third country, in another country, then you still have to pay your mortgage at home. So, you know, you keep your salary or some percentage of it. There's usually some negotiation that goes on about that.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's a new one. I may have to look into that a little bit further.
Okay, thanks.
Because it could create some issues.
Because if I may say something, the Fulbright generally involves research as well. So it'd just be research in a different country for actually your home school.
But if you're being paid separately from that, and you're still on Appalachian time, that's where it could get kind of tricky. Because again, you've got these compensation limits, but if that's all you're doing, then in general, that's not going to pay a salary. It's going to pay, as the person before, I'm sorry, I don't know her name, but said like housing or perhaps some travel, that sort of thing. It's not really paying a salary because the salary is paid at home still. Right.
So they don't want to pay a second salary either.
Okay.
Well, usually I think that usually the Fulbright stipend has two parts. One part is for research, housing, etc., in the host country, and the second part is payment for teaching. And I think that part is withheld by the university. You have to return that part to the university. And so I would assume that you'll keep the part that pertains to your research, housing, and that doesn't have to do with payment for teaching in that particular country. Otherwise, if you take that amount of money, then you might go over your 50% because it's considered as salary.
Right.
Right now, if you're on the OP, you can go over 50% though, right?
Excuse me?
Is it true that if you're on the ORP as opposed to
Oh,
the,
yeah, yeah. In this
then
case,
you
if you are
can?
on the ORP, then you can, from what I understand, from what I understood today, that you can go over your 50%. Is that correct, Angie?
And if you're in the ORP, you can go over your 50%, but you cannot go over your 30 hours a week,
Right.
regardless of which retirement plan you're in. So you might not be subject to the earnings limits, but you're still subject to the hours per week.
Which brings me to another question. If you decide that you want to teach one semester and devote the second semester for research, doesn't mean that you're entitled to research money from the university. Can you apply for any money that goes toward research?
Are you asking if you can apply for more
Yeah.
money?
Yeah, for research. If you decide to devote the second part of your of the second semester to research, then I will assume that you should be able to apply for monies at the university level that go towards research. Am I right?
Sure, I think yes, you can apply. But as far as any payments from that research project, you would have to be careful with the earnings limit. And then however much time you're spending, again, going back to the 30 hours a week. Does that answer your question?
Well, if I say, for instance, in the arrangement I make with the dean, as a chair, if the arrangement I make with the dean, I say, for instance, that, well, I'm going to teach for the first semester, and the second semester I'll be abroad doing some research, which is part of the arrangement. It doesn't specify any amount of time I'll spend. I mean, it doesn't specify it by the hour. And therefore, the dean will assume that during the second semester, I'm doing research abroad. And therefore, if I apply for some money to do some research, either from the OIED, Office of International Education and Development, of any competition money that comes to the university for research, I assume that I'll be entitled to that, and that will not count as salary. Do research monies count as salary? Do they?
Some do, but not. It depends on how the grant is written. If it says it covers salary, then yeah, but if it's just for research tools, research supplies, travel, et cetera, then that's not really salary. Those are operating expenses to be able to perform the research.
And keep in mind, as far as the hours, right now, phased retirees are in our system at a 0.5 FTE. Under the Affordable Care Act, that equivalency would put you at 20 hours a week. So if you are receiving any additional pay that's tied to a one-time pay for additional services, then we are required by federal law to equate that to an FTE equivalency. So if you receive those additional monies through pay, through wages that are paid to you and that are taxed, and we look at that and we say, okay, this is going to be equivalent to a 0.25 FTE, then that is added to the additional 20 hours a week. Again, it gets a little bit tricky when you're getting any type of additional compensation while you're a retiree of the university. Whether you're on phased retirement or whether you're just collecting a regular retirement benefit, because of the Affordable Care Act, because the state does track earnings limits for those people in teasers, I just caution you to be mindful of that. Again, we don't track that. But we have an obligation under federal law when we look at your hours. Again, as a phased retiree, you're in there at 50%, which is going to, again, equate at 20 hours a week. But if you start getting any type of additional pay that is paid through ASU, we are required to attach that equivalent FTE to it so it can be used for the ACA purposes.
Thank you. I have a question that is a little bit personal. I am turning 59 in November.
Happy birthday.
Does it mean that if I were to decide that I will go on retirement, that it wouldn't be possible since I have to start the process? Yeah.
So you'll be, but see, by the time August rolls around, you'll be old. Are you in the ORP program?
Yeah.
Okay. By the time August the 1st, 2021 rolls around, sounds like you'll be older than 59 and a half. So
Yes.
you would be eligible.
Yes. So then, sure, if I decide to go on phased retirement, start the process as early as when? December, you said?
Yes, for phased retirement, the application period is going to run from now until December the 14th, unless you need a little time, which just,
okay, so it doesn't give me much time to think about it then.
well, yeah, you still will have time to think about it. It's just the application period is right now. And then when you get all the documents and after you've signed everything, you'll have 45 days to think about whether you want to do this or not. And then after you sign everything, you still have 7 more days. And, you know, as long as if you wanted to revoke it a little bit later, you have to go through the revocation process, then, you know, you could do that. But are you thinking about entering phased retirement in like July 1, 2021?
Not really. I'm trying to gather information and see.
Okay.
So I might be in another 1 or 2 meetings of this kind.
Okay. Yeah. We're trying to
It's a serious decision to make, though.
Oh, it is. It's a very serious decision. And I want you to have plenty of time. But again, that's why this is it's a voluntary program. And as long as we both agree to terminate, if you've entered it and then you change your mind, as long as we both agree, then we can work that out.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions?
Just a quick question. The ORP is for people who have TIAA, correct?
Or Fidelity.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about First Fidelity. I mean, it's TIAA CREF.
Well, the ORP has 2 vendors that employees could contribute to, either TIAA or Fidelity.
Okay.
So if any faculty member elected to contribute to Fidelity, it would cover Fidelity as well.
Okay, but I'm right that ORP is TIAA for us then.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Right. I can't hear you. And it's still muted.
No,
Put it in the chat.
Now you're unmuted, Marshall.
no, I have no question.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's Ray is trying to, he was going to ask something. So I'll wait till the chat comes up. Any other questions? And feel free to email Angie or me or both of us, and we will do our very best to answer your questions. But you're right, Marshall, it's a very, very serious situation and very serious to consider. So don't take it lightly. And this is recorded. And I'll try to get the link. We'll get the links to you. We'll make sure the Google form is located on the HR website, and we can send you a link to it. When we send you the link to this presentation, I'll send you the PowerPoint. It's got some links in it, so feel free to use those.
Ms. Talana?
Yes.
Dr. Miller says, can we create a session with those who have gone through this before so they can discuss the factors that affect if we want to do this?
We have attempted that before. We did actually try to invite phased retirees as alumni to our sessions, and it was very, very hard to get anyone to come. We did have Dr. Mary Reichel. She was so gracious, and she came a couple of times and did her testimonials. But other than that, we've had a hard time trying to get people to come back and do sessions with our potential phased retirees. But we can certainly give it a try.
Okay.
I am concerned because of the impact of COVID on this decision. Might we talk among ourselves later? Or are you talking about the group, Dr. Miller? Yes. He's wanting to know if the group could talk.
This group. Okay. Sure, we can set something else up and have, especially if there are further discussions, and if anybody who was not able to attend would like to attend, we can try to get something set up, if that will help.
Are others interested?
I'd be interested in seeing if there's some way to clarify the question about research money, because, and like Marcella asked about, what are we eligible to apply for? I know that when I was chair, I had somebody on phased, and I had to really fight with the dean to give that person some travel money, but eventually they did, but at first they didn't want to. So I'm not sure if the policy is clear on that, but that'd be great to be able to get some more information about that kind of thing. Yeah.
And I think probably what I would do is invite either Eche Carton or Sharna Howson, since they work with the research much more than I do. I really don't have any hand in that at all. Yeah. But it may be worth having them, and maybe a dean or two to just say, well, here's how I handle it in my college, or here's what I would look for, here's what I would expect. So yeah, I'm willing to put something like that together. And we can send invites, and those who show up, those will be the ones that talk. Anything else? All right.
I don't see anything else in the chat.
Okay, thanks. Okay, well, I appreciate everybody being here and your attention. Hope it's been helpful. And we'll get these links and things out to you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Y'all have a great evening and great week.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.